Hi, this is David Pierce again, and I'm here to talk a little bit more about my new design for a chromatic harmonica with interactive reed bending. And so I thought I'd start with the reason why I decided to make this harmonica. I made it for myself because I wanted it and it didn't exist. And Brendan Power is the person who turned me on to this idea. Years ago in the 90s, he started doing this, and he would customize CX12s. And so basically what I wanted was, a harmonica that's straight out of the box, played like a customized CX12 that was half valve and had interactive reed bending, and that could be tuned in different ways to do this. So that's why I made the harmonica. I did not make the harmonica to make a better chromatic harmonica. I don't know how chromatic players would feel about this harmonica. I do, I have an East-top harmonica, and I think in terms of airtight, I think that East-top is an excellent value. I think the slider and the mouthpiece is very airtight. And I would say that the harmonicas have about the same level of airtightness. So what were the elements that I wanted in this harmonica? Well, I already mentioned one. It had to be tuned. You had to tune it in different ways. I'll talk about configurations in another video. But, I wanted it to be, Richter tuned, or Patty Richter tuned, or power chromatic tuned. So that's where Zeidel comes into play, because Zeidel, offers this amazing thing. They're configured reed plates. So that's why I designed it for Zeidel, to use Zeidel parts. The other element that I wanted was an open slide that was cross-tuned. And I did as opposed to this kind of slide system. Now some people, they might prefer this. So the reason why I wanted an open slider is because I compared between the two. I actually started with one, and these will be available if somebody wants a fully open slider. If you can see by the hole at the end here, it's a pretty long distance to travel. But where there's a will, there's a way. So, I compared one that was fully open to one that was half this size, more the size of this slider right here. And I did a lot of tests going back and forth. And what I found was that the more open slider allowed the vibrations and the harmonics of the harmonica to come through to the player. I don't know if the audience would hear it, but I think they would hear it because I did some tests that were amplified. And I felt like there was a clear difference. So I think, to maximize this kind of half-valved harmonica, you need an open slider system. I'm convinced of it. I've done so many tests. So of course the other element is you have to have an airtight slider. And so that's why I came up with this system. I really didn't know what I was doing. I stumbled into this. I did not know that the mouthpiece was not supposed to rest directly on the slide. That's just how I did it. The reason I had this rubber mouthpiece is I had a rigid mouthpiece that was leaking, and to solve that problem, I moved over to rubber, and it worked. So That's pretty much all I've got to say. Oh, yeah, well, let me just demonstrate how easily. This is a D harmonica, and it's in a tuning I call Patty Richter Bend that I'll talk about in another video. And you don't have to get it tuned this way. This is just the way I like to have it tuned. I'm going to demonstrate, how airtight this harmonica is, and how every note, except for the 5, can be bent, at least a semitone. Oh yeah, hole number 1 on this harmonica is actually hole number 2 because there's 12 holes, and D is such a high harmonica. There's my 2-hole draw. Of course, the higher the note, the more of a challenge. I'm not used to doing draw bends on such high notes. You see, I can do it quietly as well as loud.